What a beautiful evening. Actually got rain today. Well, when I say rain, you could count the drops, but just south of me they got hit by a big storm and roofs went flying and all sorts of things. Let's have a look at the sunset. You probably, unless you want to look at me Guinness, you decide. Do you want to look at the garden and the sunset, or do you want to look at the Guinness slowly settling? I was bugging these live chats up. Never got to learn. Oh well. Ooh, Guinness is getting close. Look at that. Starting to settle. Yeah, pretty warm day here today. It was about, I don't know, 90. And we had the threat of this big storm and we're all excited. We don't see rain that often. And like I say, you could count the drops we had, but just further south of me, they copped it big time. Oh, that looks good. Let me try it for you. That is good. Let's have a look at the scenery. Not much scenery, I suppose, but this is beautiful time of the day here. Starts to cool off. Mind you, like I said, we haven't had much of a summer. But I know the guys in North America have had a pretty nasty winter. So, what have you all been up to? I'm not seeing any chat, but that could be my technology that I don't know how to set this up properly. I'll just have another sip of my Guinness. That is good. It'll soon be the end of summer here. And we'll get those freezing cold days down to about 75 degrees. Doesn't really get that cold here. We're spoiled. I did start the fermentation of a little batch of chilies today, fermented chili sauce. It's a lot easier to make. It just takes a long time for the process. You'll leave this one for 10 or 14 days, ferment away, stirring it every couple of days. It's only got a little bit of salt. So can someone just type in text to see if I've got my Hangout set up properly, or am I just talking to myself? Ah, Johnny. G'day, mate. Beautiful night here. Sun is just about setting. Actually, it's only about 28 degrees now. Got myself a nice glass of Guinness. I'll show you. A warm day, nice cold Guinness. Beautiful. So, I've been out of the loop. Anything exciting happening? Did anyone kill anyone else? Or the threat of death? Or slashing tyres? Or some crazy other thing? G'day, Mark. Hello. It's my daughter riding by. She's on a fitness campaign. Bought the push bikes about 3 weeks ago. They've been riding them every night. Give them credit. Every night they're out riding. Good on them. Actually, loads of people ride push bikes in Australia. One of the biggest fads is you see a heap of electric bikes. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of a behind, JP. Yeah, I get out of loop all the time. I don't stay in there 24/7. That's right. I was talking about electric bikes. They're everywhere. What are they like where you are? Is there a heap of electric bikes going around where you are, JP? Because there's heaps here. I mean, heaps. Like every second bike's an electric bike, and they're not that cheap. I think you get a good one for a couple of grand here, which is the price of a second-hand car. But I don't like to say. I don't know what it's like over east, but over in WA, everyone's buying these electric bikes. And some people tell me they charge their battery on a Monday and it's good for the week because they only go like 2 or 3 mile. So, and then there's charged up on the weekend again. There's too many mad drivers for me to get on a push bike. I got one, but not electric one. Well, we're out of the city by a little way, and they're everywhere. You can tell because when people go down the street, they're not pedaling. You go, what's going on there? Some are real big buggers and some are small ones. There's even a guy who's got a 3-wheeler trike electric bike. And he goes, does his shopping. But they're definitely a fad here. Not sure what it's like it be in the US for electric bikes, but like I say, they're not cheap. You're talking about a couple of grand to get a real cheap one, about 1,500, I think. But like I say, you can buy a second-hand car here for that price. Sunset is beautiful. With that rain, you get all that humidity in the air, a few clouds around, pinkies and greens and all sorts of colours. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure what it's like in your state, JP, but over here, if you have an electric car, you don't pay rego. That's pretty good. I mean, my rego is $800 a year for the vehicle. Mind you, electric car, actually there's a lot of them, all different types of electric cars here now, not just Tesla, there's all sorts. Little ones, I think they call them Gets something, and bigger ones, and even they're talking about making an all-wheel drive one, like those cars that drive around all look like little hatchbacks. They just, Em and Mark just drove past on their bikes. This is no good?
Well, for me, it might be okay for JP.
Oh well, yeah, no, my iPhone doesn't make very good hangouts. It glitches. All of a sudden I'll stop talking and then
Yeah,
it's like I'm 10 seconds ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going under 4G because it stopped.
Could be. Well, I think they're going to be a big part of the future in this country. I mean, generally we have a fair bit of sunlight, so charging the batteries is not a problem. In the middle of winter here, we get 11.5 hours of sunlight in the middle of winter at the equinox, and about 14 during summer. This is about the best part of the year in Australia, just near the end of summer. And of course, when it starts getting warmer again after the winter comes, that's a good time of the year as well. But we've had a fairly cool summer as far as summers go. But I know, to be honest, they've had the reverse. One of our parents lives over there in near Richmond, and they cop a heap. Yeah, it's, the wife just showed me her laptop. The quality's not good. It's just as well I'm damn good looking. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
Even if it's blurry.
spinning.
G'day, Don. How you going, mate? Oh, I don't know how to look for that. No. Yeah, so nothing happened in Salem overnight. It's right back to 1692 all over again, isn't it, Don? Essex County. Salem. Actually, what we do have here is a very eclectic group of people that have old Fords going back into the 45s, 50s, and they're in mint condition. I've seen some of them. There's a mate of mine's got a GT, You know, the old GT Falcon with the stripe down the side. He's been offered over 100 grand for it. He's brought it up to mint. He's had it, I think he said he had it 6 months after the first buyer bought the car, and he bought it, hardly any miles on it. They were miles. The old cars here used to work in miles. In fact, I remember going to school doing inches, not centimetres, not miles, not miles and not kilometres. Americans won't like it, but eventually they'll go decimal as well. It will happen. Yep, we're only going to get down to, I think, Johnny, about 26 tonight temperature, but there's a little bit of a breeze kicking in, so it's quite nice. But we've had friends from the US come over and they think 30 degrees is death. They think they're in Death Valley at 30 degrees, which is about today's temperature, about 90. Yes, it's a beautiful night. Not sure what it's like where you are, but wouldn't, as we have a saying in Australia, wouldn't trade you for quids. It's beautiful. Yeah, no, yeah, that's what my mate said. His is not a record, his is the original. And when he bought it, he bought it and put it in a shed. And he would drive it, I think, every Sunday. So it's still got hardly any miles on the damn thing. Don, you're moving to Arizona, I guess, somewhere like that. We get 46 here. It's not a big thing. I know Johnny's had 46. I think Penrith was 47, their highest, I think, wasn't it, Johnny? We have to slap you in Australia, Don. You don't say sir here. Johnny, if I walked up and said, how you going, sir? Wouldn't you? I know Don is a real gentleman, but you wouldn't say sir in Australia. I was up near Marble Bar in the early 80s, Johnny, and it was 51 degrees in the shade, and I was doing survey work. We'd start work at 4 in the morning and finish at 10, and then we'd go out at 4 in the afternoon and finish at 8. I've only opened a 1 can, John. I'm a 1 can man. That'll do me for the night. The good old Guinness. I should watch that latest series on Chopper. Oh yeah. Sort of an insult in Australia. I actually walked up like saying, hello sir. Yeah. But yeah, Don's a very, very polite gentleman, there's no question. Of all the people I've met down in the deepest, darkest valley of YouTube, he's an absolute gentleman. And I don't think he goes to sleep when he runs a hangout, unlike Tucker. I imagine Tucker to be about 50 years old, head to the side of a chair, drooling, and then wake up and think, ooh, I've still got a hangout. It's good blood, Tucker. Beautiful sunset. And of course, when the sun goes down, the crickets will start now. That was the latest one, I think, wasn't it, Johnny? Yeah, it was okay, but there's been so many underbelly bloody things, let's be honest. It gets a bit repetitive after a while. Chopper, who talks a little bit like that, I'll cut your frigging ears off. Americans may or may not know who Chopper Read was. He was a gangster in Australia in the late 60s right through the 90s. He died recently. Actually, it was the 70s, Melly, I think. Yeah, 70s, Chopper. we tend to turn our bad guys into folk heroes. Hence Ned Kelly is revered. And Ned Kelly used to shoot constables until they eventually caught him at Glenrowan. And we heard we had Al Capone. Is Al Capone considered sort of a good bad guy? Yeah, I think that's what I was doing, Johnny. Like Eric did such a good cover of Chopper. This guy did a good job, don't get me wrong, but you thought, it's not quite there. So you wouldn't say in America Dawn that he would be like a folk hero. He wouldn't be like a good bad guy, even though he killed people, hence Ned Kelly. But definitely fought. Ned, obviously Kelly was an Irishman. And the Irish in Australia got treated really badly here. And they used to fight, shoot constables, and eventually they got caught. But yeah, Ned Kelly was the same. Ned Kelly's one of those, I suppose, like Robin Hood. Yeah, mostly gangster. I think one of the ones I remember in the US, other than Al Capone, is Babyface. There's a few others. It's like one of the worst criminals that I watched on television from the US was the Iceman, Richard Kuklinski. He was an evil son of a bitch. Absolutely no feelings for anyone. He died in prison as well. Good morning, Laurie Green, with an S. Hang on. Yeah, I heard that, Johnny. I felt really bad. I don't know why, Laurie. Just want to answer Don's question. I've got some really good American friends, I really have. We think you're different in different ways than we are. We're very similar in Australia, except we're taller, better looking. I've explained that to you before. It's something to do with the gravity down south. But no, there's not much difference between America and Australia. Wasn't even thinking about anything. I didn't want you to think I was upset. I'm not sure why you'd be upset, Laurie. Bigger penises. Oh, yeah, definitely. Johnny, you need some explaining to do. Just because we're south of the equator doesn't make us, well, it makes us taller. Things are taller than Americans on average. Might be something to do with the fact that we're not as wide. What do you think? Because we're not as wide as many Americans, we're taller. Now, the gravitational effect of being a little bit wide. Just taking a piss. The thing, a lot of Americans, we do know, we take fun out of ourselves a lot, and we also I could take the piss out of Johnny P, and he wouldn't be offended. And that's how we do it. We tend to get, oh well, bit of a laugh. We're a nation that jokes. When that was brought up, I didn't see all of that, Laurie. I just left because I thought it was ridiculous and silly. It was, I made reference, the funny thing is I made reference to Salem and getting pitchforks, which was in reference to Dave, like being hunted down as a witch or whatever. And that was held against me. And all of a sudden I'm pompous, and all of a sudden I'm anti-American. And I'm thinking, either they don't get the humour, because in text, what I did text was humour, or they're very sensitive. Maybe that's something I haven't understood about Americans. Maybe they don't take things with a pinch of salt. Otherwise, they take it too seriously. And I know you know me well enough, Laurie, that I've said all of this stuff is 99% bullshit. A lot of it makes me laugh. It's like how irrelevant a lot of it is, and how the sideshow is bigger than the act. I mean, the man in the van is inconsequential. He's like not important because it's the sideshow that's more important. What time is it where you are, Keeping? It is, I don't know, about 7 o'clock here. I'm not looking at the clock though. I don't know whether, is it, Laurie, one of those things, or Don, maybe you can answer, is it that we've got a lot of national pride. What do I think about you walking around with handguns in public? Well, you have the right to do it. Yeah, you work about this time, don't you, Larry? Listen, people get confused. They think Australians don't have guns. We don't have the right to bear arms. That's the big difference. We have the right to go and get weapons. No, we can't get AK-47s or bazookas. We can't get those, but we can get heavy rifles. 44 Winchester, 4440 I used to have. Or you have 303s or 763s, 762s. They all vary by millimetres. But for one thing, Americans need to understand, we're allowed guns. We're not allowed to bear arms. You read your own constitution, you'll see the difference. Is that I need to apply, get approved, huge background checks here. And you've got the money to buy the weapons. I can tell you they're a lot dearer here than they are there. Seriously. I mean, they're really expensive. And you must have a gun cabinet. You can't travel with the bolt in a rifle, except it's locked away. Otherwise, you can have the rifle, behind the seat or in the back of the ute. But you can't have the bolt in there until you get to where you're shooting. Or you might be, in Australia, it's very popular for rifle range shooting. The kid that shot the kids in the school. I did hear, look, another one. Look, I had my opinions about what works in this country. What works in yours is entirely up to you. If you have a constitutional right to do anything, you have the constitutional right to do it. It means you can carry, conceal, or even open carry. That's the law. The definition of a law is the people make law. And I don't see why people have conflicts about gun ownership, and these horrific crimes. They're crimes. Would it be better if you didn't have a lot of guns with a lot of people? Probably. But as the peoples in America, you need to make that decision. That's not for other countries to make. You have a constitution. You have your First Amendment, which means I can come on here because this is YouTube owned by the USA. I can talk whatever I like. I have that constitutional right, even though I'm not an American. If you're not a felon, no, it's the same here. If you're a felon, actually, if you're in debt in this country, you lose your gun license. Like if you go bankrupt. But I don't know, Americans, like I say, maybe it's the sensitivity about a lot of things of what other people think about America. I have a message for you. Don't give a fuck what other people think about you. They don't live there. And if it's a sensitivity about the gun laws, you sort it out. It's your country. People will decide. It may be a generational from now that things will be different. Don't know. Maybe they'll have an amnesty saying you can have weapons until 2030. And then might be some different laws. I don't know. It'll be up to the people and the politicians in your country to make decisions about those issues. You have the right to bear arms. There is not for that today. And in some states in the US it's different laws for different states. But the truth is, the people of your country will make that decision. Not people like me in another country. I don't talk about it. It's your laws. You silly buggers drive on the right-hand side of the road. You're fucking crazy. You get killed here. Right-hand side of the road. Who ever fucking thought of that? No, we've been nearly every other place on the planet, Don. But we're coming either later this year or we'll wait till after next winter and we'll come into the 2019. We're going to Europe first. Yeah, I suppose we find some of the age thing. Look, I have a big beef with America. Big beef. You allow anyone of the year to join the army and go die for your country, but you won't let him have a fucking drink till he's 21. As Chopper would say, Johnny, not fucking right. I seriously have a beef with that. If a man can get a uniform, he deserves a drink. That's weird. It is weird when you think about it. It's fucking crazy. Actually, there was a real funny T-shirt in the protest days in the 70s. Yes, I'm old enough to remember that. I think I told Laurie. There were T-shirts going around by protesters saying, guns don't kill people, Americans do. And I see the humour in that, but at the time, it was a very political stance. All these different T-shirts. Laurie could tell you all about them. Bookface. What the fuck is Bookface? I don't even do Facebook. Is that what you're talking about? Technologically, I'm not very good at that stuff. Good at gardening, cooking. Johnny was being spoonerist. A funny bugger, as we call him here. You've been a smart ass, Johnny. But America certainly has to change that fucking law where a bloke can join the army at 18 but can't have a beer. That's wrong. Really wrong. Yeah, very much. I think you're right there, Johnny. I've met loads of Canadians. They have a dry sense of humour as well. Do you have medical marijuana over here? No, we grow it. And what are the fines for smoking marijuana in this country? Naughty boy. But if you drive under the influence of marijuana, it's the same penalties as if you're drunk. But what do the police do? And I know, I'm an ex-uniform man myself. What do? They go, get rid of it. Unless it's like 10 kilo, then you're gone for possession of distributable quantities. But no one gets pulled over for that reason. Yeah, but it's for me, it's just weird, Laurie. If the country accepts the young men go to war for them, point something at somebody and shoot them and defend their country, and in victory they're not allowed to celebrate to have a drink, there's something awfully wrong there. I mean, just because the man's 18, add 3 years to it, doesn't make much difference. And let's be honest, all the young kids in the US and Australia start drinking at about 13 or 14. Yeah, it's not that law here, Johnny. They join the army, they can drink a beer in the mess, no problem. So that question keeps coming up. What do Australians think about Americans? You're American. You were 19. So you were 19 when you started drinking, Laurie. So that would have been a good 10 years ago, eh? Now look, I mean, Australians don't hate fucking Yanks. We call you Yanks. Yanks. Yeah, we really do give people enough rope, and when they make it, we're bastards when it comes to the push. It takes a lot to push us. And YouTube is nothing, let's be honest. I had some funny messages, I really did the other day, and I'm thinking, what are all these people getting upset about? It's like, do I hate America? No. Where did that come from? I'll never know. Someone said I was pompous. Okay. When you get old, you get a bit pompous. Laurie, have you ever been pompous before? Answer me. Funny. Like I say, maybe just people take things too seriously. I mean, I think you're allowed a little bit of intolerance when you get older. Been around the traps a bit. I don't say a lot, actually. If you've ever watched me in a chat room, normally trying to be humorous or saying nothing at all. Yeah, no, my grandfather used to make it. A good story. I'll tell you about the story in a second, mate. About my grandfather and whiskey. Oh, you call it moonshine. He was a local bobby in Yorkshire. Big man. He was as big as me. He was 6'5". Big. Bobby's a policeman. Around the whole district, he was like the sergeant in the area. He used to make all his own whiskey, which was illegal to do, of course. But who the fuck was going to dob in? Who's going to dob in the bobby? No one. So, but he used to, like I say, I learned all my gardening techniques from my grandfather. My grandfather was born in 1895. He died at 104 in his sleep. Not a bad run. But yeah, he used to make all his own whiskey. And I used to make at the back shed where he had his stills, and it's as a little kid, it stunk to high heaven. It was shocking. But he used to sit there and have his probably had a glass of whiskey about as big as my Guinness of a night. 104. Don't forget that. So is alcohol a big killer? Only if you drown in the vat, I guess. Moderation. That will be my only drink for the night. Enjoy a nice Guinness every now and then. But I'm sure somebody is going to start up some crazy room shortly. So I normally sit down this time of night and have a quiet one. And anyone's there, we'll have a chat with you. When you're not, I'll bugger off. So has someone else got a room open? Because I'll just close this. Kane, I think someone said it was 3 or 4 a.m. I think Laurie's at 3 a.m. Yeah, good on her. Yeah, I think at 103 she's entitled to do what she likes. There is duty of care, and there's looking back saying, well, if she wants a smoke and a glass of whiskey, she's 103. Who's to argue? The 103-year-old had server problems. What, was she on the internet as well? 6 a.m. there. I'm up about 6 most mornings. People live a long time now. They really do. I'm not kidding you. When I was a kid, people were dying at 50 and no one raised an eyebrow. You know, in the 60s, people worked hard and drank hard and died fast. I'm sure it was no different in the US. Life expectancy for a woman in this country is something like 88. And for a man, I think it's about 86. I'm not sure what the US is. That's our figures. Jeez, I've got another 30 odd years to go. Jeez. We got a friend who's, I could find out he's 112. They recently had a party. She's in a nursing home now, but only since last year. And she looks about 75. Incredible. Not sure if she drinks whiskey or not. But you should try all sorts of things. Alcohol, if you want to try some of those illicit drinks, go for it. I don't really care. As long as it doesn't bother me, you do what you like. But someone did ask earlier about marijuana. Slap on the wrist here. Yeah, you don't know, do you, JP? You might fall off the perch tomorrow, as we say here. We can keep on. Can you hear the crickets going out? The sun goes down. And there's a couple of frogs over there too. They're pretty loud to me. They're probably loud to you as well. Yeah, so it should be. Do you know, I think what's more important is not the length of your life, but your quality. 3 days after a bank account went empty. That was a bit rude by someone. I believe anyone in a family who has money has every right to get % of it and leave you nothing. People are going, no, but my grandmother's going to leave me a fortune. But it's their money. That's how I look at it. And money is not everything. Jeez, these are getting loud now. Are those crickets loud for you? Keeping it cool. Catch you later, mate. I will close this down now. And I wish you all a good day. You're all getting up. Your grandfather fell 3 days after. Yeah, you know, Laurie, one of the things I'm sure you know, a lot of people, when they get older and infirm and they fall over and break a hip, that just about ends them nearly every time. It seriously does. One of the major arteries in your body goes through there, and you can't really do much of an operation on an 80-year-old, if you know what I mean. So falling over and breaking hip when you get old is not a good thing. Oh, the moon's coming out. I don't know if you can see it there. It's just above the frangipani. All right, good people. I bid you a good day. Have a good one wherever you are. Nice to talk to you. Bye-bye.